Okay. Hello, welcome to Transcendent CEO. My name is Andrea Albright. We are so excited that you are joining us for another amazing episode where we are going to talk to a very successful CEO about his success mentoring with Satyen Raja. And of course, the creator, the founder of Transcendent CEO, the one and only Satyen Raja is here with us today. Welcome, Satyen.
Thanks, Andrea. Thanks, Vijay, for coming and sharing about today and your life experience. And Andrea, always for your heartfelt, evocation and bringing people into the heart of becoming a transcendent leader. Very much appreciated.
Oh, thank you. Well, it is my pleasure. It is my honor. And I am very excited about our special guest today. Welcome, Vijay.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Thank you very much, Satyen, for having me here today.
We are very excited to talk to you about your business, your success as a CEO and as a global leader. Please tell us about your background.
So I came to this country as an immigrant, as a student, about 20 years ago. And it's been a roller coaster ride throughout this journey. And then I started my business with $100 in the previous recession. And I've grown it to now about like $20+ million in revenue. We have grown it organically through helping employees help clients. That's our simple philosophy. And it's been quite a journey. And I truly believe business, just like Tony Robbins says, is a spiritual game. So you can only grow as much your business as much as you personally grow in your own lives. That's my philosophy on this whole thing. And I really thank Satyen for being able to guide me through this journey. And it's been phenomenal since I started working with Satyen. And yeah.
Amazing. Well, that is quite a success story, from $100 in the bank to 20 million in revenue and growing. Satyen, do you see success like this happen when a person realizes that the business is more than just the business and the numbers, but as Vijay said, it's actually an inward journey as well?
Well, absolutely. Entrepreneurship, it's a type of modern day warriorship. But instead of outside wars, which there might be some out there, most of it is a war, if you will, with our limiting beliefs, our internal impressions, our fears, our closures, our habits that we've picked up in the past, as well as our spiritual alignment. And if any of those areas are out, it affects the external reality. One of the foundation principles of transcendent leadership is the outer world is a reflection of our inner disposition, our transmission. So we can work on trying to fix everything out there. It's like trying to fix the mirror, whereas it's much better and much more efficient if you work on what you're putting into the mirror so that it reflects back what you're putting out. But if you're putting out a frown, it frowns back. If you put out exuberance, passion, clarity, the willingness to go above and beyond, then the world reflects that back.
That's so interesting how when you start to see it, you can't not see it. And then you begin to realize you're creating all of it. So it's a very powerful shift that when you can make that awareness that it's inside of you first, and then it's in a reflection outside. So Vijay, you have obviously done a lot of personal development, spiritual development on yourself. Can you tell us why you have chosen Satyen as a mentor at this stage of your growth as a CEO?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had many mentors, and they've gotten me to a point. And one of the most important things that I kind of came across, when I first had the first session with Satyen, was this was totally different from the previous trainings that I had, because the previous trainings, they talk about time management, they talk about optimizing businesses, leadership. I mean, those all areas, as well as personal development a little bit in all those areas. But what they're not talking about is how do you grow and be happy intrinsically in that process. They all talk about what is out there, like how can you use some tactics in order to like manage your team, for example? How can you optimize your whole business and grow the dollars in revenue and profit? Those are all like tactical. But then you do all these things, where are you headed with that? What's the direction of your life? Is it a direction that you copy your neighbor, or is it a direction that you think this has to be it, or is it something even deeper within yourself? So to look outside, there is what everybody says, and that's what our two eyes also do. They always look outside. But with Satyan in his first session, when I really started, I was able to like really look into myself, and that was like eye opening. And it took a while for me to like kind of like understand what was going on. And he did some anchoring. He did a lot of things in that 1 hour, which I had never experienced before with other trainings. Other trainings were like, okay, what are you doing with your business and what are you doing with your life? Come on, let's have a sheet. Let's like write down what your goals are, like 150 items, 300 items, 500 items, whatever it is. And then you kind of like prioritize it. Okay, now you've got a huge manuscript of these are my goals, and you never look at it. Then you look at it at a year later. Okay, what the hell did I accomplish? But this wasn't that way. This is totally like you're playing with your own being, I guess, and understanding it from even very deep within yourself. And that's really motivating, because what's your motivating reason? Why are you even here? I mean, that's what drives your business in a more deeper level than profits, dollars, impact. We can hear in the internet, for example, okay, what's the impact you made? Okay, you can make an impact and then you're happy that the impact has been made, but are you truly happy? Or is it because you just copied the impact made by some other leaders? You know, I think that's the thing. When you're really authentic in your own self, okay, this is the impact that I want to make because this matters to me, even after I'm gone 100 years later. I mean, that level of depth and understanding about self and setting a direction in that path, I think that's totally revolutionary for me. It has been, working with Satyan.
Well, you described that beautifully. Thank you for that description and that difference of what you've already experienced being mentored by Satyan. And so, Satyan, why do you focus so much on the individual self and the CEO? What's the philosophy behind all of that?
Well, as Vijay was sharing, he's already quite astute in the traditional models of expansion, goal setting, achievement orientation mindset. That is out there in spades. And many great CEOs learn those methods, tactical methods to grow and expand their businesses. And I believe that's all great and that's all wonderful and powerful and very necessary. Yet the approach I like to take is go way back to the self. I truly believe that us modern entrepreneurs, modern leaders, business leaders, that we have a propensity perhaps to create destruction in the world. You can see in businesses, they're harmful to the world. And some businesses are doing really good for the world and helping and moving towards that direction, expanding that. Where does that external intention comes from? It comes from our inner disposition, how we feel, who we are, what we value as an individual, what's true in our own heart and soul. And so I believe that us as leaders, business leaders, if we first focus on self-actualization, self-realization, this is what I started with Vijay with, and all our leaders that I work with. I work on first discovering what is your own true nature. Who are you that goes beyond any type of labels, any identities, any philosophies, any religious associations, any outside impressions. And so we go through a process of peeling away all the, if you will, illusionary layers, stacked up layers of who we think we are. Once those layers are dissolved, we come to the prime center control of reality, which is our true self. Our true self is what I believe should be animating our personal lives, should be animating and supporting and flourishing in our business lives, because our true self is eternal, it's immortal, it cannot be touched, it cannot be harmed, it's abundance itself. So tapping into the spirit of that eternal nature and then say, how can I bring this out into my work, my teams, my businesses, my life. This becomes now a joyful expression of your self-realization. Your business becomes a beautiful expression of who you truly are and what you truly believe in, rather than something that's just making money to fulfill something in yourself that's temporary. I truly believe that we can infuse our businesses with the eternal essence of truth, love, wisdom when we first tap into it, awaken to it, and make a life that's built on truths, not just on things that are temporary.
Mm. It's such a radical, revolutionary approach to business to bring the self-actualization first and then create from that, because so many people are chasing self-actualization thinking it's going to happen somewhere in the future or someday when I make a certain amount of money. And so your approach to realizing self-actualization here and now and then creating from that, it's remarkable. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. And Vijay is also experiencing this. So tell us, Vijay, what are some of the results that you've had as a result of, knowing yourself, understanding yourself on this deeper level with this deeper awareness? What's happening now? And how are you different as a CEO, leader, and human being?
Yeah, before I get into that, I think I should share this part. One of the other ways of looking at what I've learned from Satyan was this. Most of these trainings that I've had, I've been in personal development for almost a decade now. I've read over 500 books and everything, and practiced each of those philosophies with various books, spiritual as well as business related. But one of the things that I learned is most of those books target about what is the fake it till you make it sort of method, that you just tell yourself a story, an affirmation, and then you just pick up to that. I think that's the philosophy. But here, how do you tell the truth to yourself? How do you face the truth head on that you've been not addressing all your life? Once you do that, the clarity that one gains by facing the truth will set you free. We all know that, but you'll only know that and feel that once you really face it head on. And it's not a journey that you have to take it alone. That's where Satyan has helped me face my truth. And as I started doing it, all the beliefs that I had in operating my business, my observations, my theories, all of those were like shifted a little bit. And that shift also made me realize in my own business, since I've taken the training with Satyan, it's not, doesn't have to go in a linear way. You don't have to like, okay, I have a business plan with a projection of X, Y, Z each month. That's basic stuff that everybody does. It can be, 1 month you have $100,000 in revenue, the next month you can have $1 million. Who says life has to be a straight line? That's how the business has transformed. I doubled my business and my size after taking Satyan's coaching during the COVID time. It's double in size, and that I owe it to Satyan on that. That's because of the shift in our consciousness that, okay, double is not a big deal. Double is something which is a big deal if you're going with theories, if you're going with the regular methodologies of how things should happen. Well, things should not have to happen the way that you envision. It will happen for you when you trust in it. I think that's what I learned. When you trust in it and you show up at it with pure faith and love, that thing will happen for you.
Amazing. You've touched on so many important points right then and there. And the one that I want to focus on is what you expressed about it's not a linear movement. It's not a linear quantification of this happens this and then this, because what Satyan is teaching and sharing is a quantum shift in reality. It's a quantum experience where it would almost seem impossible, but yet we're learning to anticipate and expect the impossible. So can you explain why that happens when a CEO steps into this level of transcendent leadership, Satyan?
Well, those who are drawn to this path and called and curious, the first step being self-actualization, realization, discovering your true nature. Now, that's only the beginning. In the old days, that was the end result, going to the top of the mountain and then you're done. I believe that we have to go to the top of the mountain and then come back down into the valley and live and create our lives from what we've seen at the top of the mountain, the vantage, the perception, the higher self-awareness, the viewpoint from a meta disposition. And so if we look at it, our mind, our logical mind is designed to go in steps and steps and steps of linear order to attain this cause and effect, cause and effect. We do this, it affects this. We do this, it affects that. That's all true. Now, here's the metaphysical component of this understanding that, and permit me to be a little metaphysical and expansive here for those who might not understand this, just tune in for a sec. So get the idea that there's just not one path to success and to attain your goals, personal and professional, business goals, dreams. Get the idea that there's millions, infinite ways to achieve that. Some have more struggle, more obstacles, more challenges along the way. Some have a little less, and some have none, like literally none at all. Now, in our work as a transcendent leader, transcendent CEO, we're learning to tap into our own unique capacity to move out of the world of the pathways of struggle, obstacle states, step-by-step linear attainment, and we tap into a new field of consciousness, which I call external intention, not the internal intention of let's do this, the grind, the crushing it. That has valid and merit, validity and merit. The challenge is it burns us out eventually. It brings us out of balance. This way of tapping into the external intention of our spiritual nature brings us into dimensions where the success that we want is actually already there. Then all we have to do is step into those realities. We have specific ways of doing it. At first, it sounds fantastic. It sounds incredible. How can this be incredible? But the moment, and we've seen this in our CEO circle, equilibrium circle, one after another report week after week, non-linear miracles happening personally and professionally, things that happened that they were thinking and dreaming about. And how did that happen? Because I truly believe there's a deeper power within us that we're just learning now to tap into. And in our work, it's about tapping into the mastery of the part in us that can create any universe that we want, that can go and have the fullness of life experience now, rather than relegating it to the future. It's an art, it's a skill, and it's a way of life, but you must be willing truly to have it all at a soul level of fulfillment. If you truly are, then the universe will come to your aid and will become like a giant elephant, if you will, bowing its trunk in service to your deepest yearning and your heart's intention.
Well, I love when you go metaphysical. That was so great. I mean, it's an incredible experience. And if you've never had some kind of synchronicity event, then you probably can't follow what we're talking about here. But if you've had anything that's ever shown up in your life that just feels like that was too beyond a coincidence, there had to be some kind of magic or synchronicity or something's going on here. Well, imagine creating that regularly. That's what we're experiencing here. And it really is remarkable. And in the world where so many people say, don't follow your dreams. Your dreams are for people who are innocent and naive. If you need to be successful, you need to give up on your dreams and just go after what works and where the money is. But would you say, Vijay, that you are actually achieving higher levels of success while you are fulfilling and honoring your dreams?
Absolutely, Andrea. To add to what you just said as well, it's not only that, it's when you're authentic, right, with your team, with your customers, with everyone, you set up that, okay, I've been like doing this which is not in alignment with my soul. You change that. As you keep changing it with faith, the universe will open up. Even the customers will appreciate you for being extraordinarily ruthless and being truthful to yourself. You're ruthless to yourself and then being true to them. And the level of fulfillment that one can face and experience is like phenomenal. I've never faced anything like that before, simply because we are starting from our heart. We're in service for the customer, the people, the employees, the team, everything, because you're coming from a place of abundance, rather than like, okay, we don't have this money. Now we got to do this to make this money. That's how most companies operate, or most businessmen operate. We need to make $1 million. Okay, this is how we're going to make $1 million. We're not going to talk about our product or its weakness or whatever it is. Try to have like methods. But this is being authentic, developing the best products, developing the best services. At the same time, when you're delivering and the customer is grateful to you, that's what is fulfilling, that you have provided such an awesome impact. The impact, what people are able to experience from the internet, for example, they say, okay, you help charity or whatever. That's like superficial. But here, everything that you do is an impact. How does that feel? To me, it's phenomenal. Whatever I do is an impact. I mean, isn't that beautiful? I think that's what I learned.
Amazing. And I'll just send another question right back to you, because I would love to hear how this has impacted your role as a father and as a leader in your team. I know you have many employees. Can you talk about how many employees you have and your role as a father, and how things have maybe changed?
I have 100+ employees now. I always connected to the employees and everything, but now I'm developing a certain level of intuition. Usually, what I've heard is intuition is only in the female side. The ladies, they have the intuition. But working with Satyan, I said, okay, we can even tap into this, into this stuff. I just got that understanding. I'm able to understand what's happening energetically in an employee's lives, for example, and to being able to tune into that. Like, you just pick up the phone and call them, and they're like happy that you remembered them, and they may have even remembered you. Now, how do you create this? I don't know how we create it, but I've started to experience it, by understanding my own energy. Okay, where do I feel which employee might need my help? Just I don't know what they're doing, but I just believe in my heart, okay, I think this person needs the help. And I pick up the phone and call them. And that's something that I never did before. Unless there is an issue, they call my team or anything like that. So I just call them randomly, out of a need to connect with them with love. It's not like a pressure that we must achieve something. It's we get to achieve it as a part of the beautiful process that we're in.
And as a father, how has it changed?
As a father, I'm able to kind of connect to my son, even more. I love my son. I've always loved him, and from the day I took him in my arms, he's the child is the father of the man, they say, which is true. So, but understanding, his own thing, like playing with him, like as a businessman, we're like, okay, I gotta get to business right now. Let's just do business. Let's just do all these things. But now I have really scheduled some time playing with him, 3 hours a week. That's what I have, where I play with him every week, and it's been really gratifying. Now, why are we doing all of these things? It's for our families, for our friends, everything. I think that's how it has impacted, because I realized at the end of he, as a father, we know that they're going to grow and they're going to go to college, whatever. Every moment counts. So we got to make the best of the moment in our personal as well as business lives. Most people are either good at one of those. We get to be good at both.
You get to be good at all of it.
Exactly.
Right?
All of it.
Amazing. Well, Satyan, can you speak to what Vijay was referring to, this intuition of understanding people on deeper levels, being able to connect, and it no longer becomes about the time of how often you do it. It's the level of impact that you make when you do it, which is actually way more effective and meaningful. And why is that essential to have those deep relationship connections when you are a transcendent CEO?
Well, what runs a company is people, beings. Beings are driven by love. Beings are driven by the desire for greater and greater freedom, deeper and deeper love and connection. Those are the two foundation callings within ourselves. We can, separate those into more six human needs and more and more and more, depending on philosophy. But ultimately, I have found that those leaders who take the time to make true contact with their team leaders, not from the space of what can you give me, the term, human resources. It sounds like they're batteries or they're chattel or they're a cattle or pig bellies or something, right? I don't like that term because it relegates the human spirit somewhere into just some machinery output. Yeah, as transcendent leaders, we recognize the dignity, we recognize the choice, we recognize that those who are working with us are offering their time, their service. And so our job is to be a humble servant leader and to help them come into their fullness, to actually take the time to know who they are. Who is Vijay? Who is Andrea? Who are my teammates? What moves them? What moves their heart? What are they here for? And if I can allow myself to let go of my desiring mind for gain and release that for a bit, relax that for a bit, and then shift my perception to what are they here for, and then come and be in service to what they're here for, not just at a mental level or at a tactical level, but at a heart level. How can I be of service? How can I be of service to their excellence? How can I be of service to their personal life? How could I be in service to their financial goals, as an example, their leadership goals? And so by switching it from gain to give, all of a sudden, what happens to our teammates is they go from gain to give. And now there's this beautiful energy, rather than you both trying to extrapolate or pull from each other and each other's businesses and capacities. Now there's this natural flow of wanting to give. They gave so much. Let me give more. Wow, look at my employees. They're giving so much. Let me foster them even more. So it becomes an infinity symbol that rises up and brings each other and everyone on the team into higher states of excellence. Intuition starts first, as Vijay was saying, from the heart of care, from truly caring. So that's one of the foundation practices. There's actual practices that go along with all these things. Learning to soften the front surface of your body, learning to have deeper contact with your eyes, learning how to shut off the mind that's constantly looking to retort or have answers, but being stronger in the reception, willing to understand fully. Now, Vijay also talked about family and his son and such. We have a philosophy in our mentorship circle in Equilibrium with our CEOs. It's about learning to have an equilibrium with our faith, meaning our belief in ourselves, our belief in spirit, our belief in the cosmos, faith, family. That's another one of the freedoms that Vijay was talking so beautifully about. By investing in our personal lives, in our intimacies, in our families, in our significant others. If you're single, significant, investing in the part in you that's a luscious feminine being, a luscious masculine being. Then what happens is we attract to us people who meet or the depth of our heart's longing. We're not going to be attracting any more people who are not resonating because we're in a state of confusion. Faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. By having this in a high level of equilibrium, literally, we tap into a freedom that continues to grow and that calls our teams into the field, then they love it and they want it too. And then we go from peak performance, pushing for peak performance, and we tap into this magical dimension, what I call peak existence, the fullness of love and freedom now. And that fullness of love and freedom now, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual love and freedom now, it emanates, it transmits all around us, and we become magnetic. Other leaders come and want to do business with us. Great opportunities come to us. Our teams come to us. And interestingly enough, those in our teams who don't resonate, they end to fall away. They leave on their own accord. Things move away. And then we start to dial in a new level of team that's congruent with this higher level of ethic, direction, and vibration.
Oh, as we say in our circle,
Cool.
that was amazing. So, Satyan, you have mentioned the equilibrium circle, and there's a group of CEOs who come together every few weeks. We do it regularly over video. And Vijay, you are now a new member. You joined. I'd love to hear just some of the feedback about being connected to other CEOs who are also on this journey. And you've also had the magical experience of being on a retreat with Satyan in Hawaii on the magical Big Island. So can you just share some of your experience of being at the retreat and also connected to the circle of CEOs?
Thank you, Andrea, for saying that. Yeah. I mean, connection with the other CEOs has been at a very deep level, authentic. We're able to like speak anything, speak our being. If we feel something, we can just tell it to the rest of the people as it is without any reservations. Or am I going to look stupid in this? Am I going to look intelligent in this? Do I want to look intelligent? Do I want to look stupid? There's no such reservations. It's pure open heart communication. That's the most beautiful thing, where you can be your true self. You can share. You're open, they're open, and it's an open environment. It's a family. That's how I look at it. And where we all like bring the best of each other, right? And we encourage each other with every win, week after week. We check in. I mean, that's very important, because I think mostly as entrepreneurs, we're all focused on the lack, what's not there in my business. But here we start with what's good, an insight. What did we learn last week? I mean, that itself kind of gets us kick-starting in the creative being that we are. And then we can just build upon that. I think that's one thing that I learned, and I've started also implementing in my own teams, that, hey guys, tell me what you guys learned. And they're all so happy. Tell me what you achieved. That's like a question. When you say, tell me what you achieved, what if they didn't achieve anything? They're not going to feel good. So either achievement, a learning, insight, or a win. That's the beauty of it. So you're bound to win all the time, because in every week you learn something, you achieve something, you did something. What do you do, right? I think that's the first thing. And when I went to the retreat in Hawaii, even going to the retreat, I was like in double mind. Should I go to the retreat? Okay, this is Hawaii. I got to take some time off. If I take time off, who's going to do my work? Am I going to be piled up with a lot of work when I come back? How does this work? Is this, okay, retreat, is this a vacation or something? Okay, did I learn something? So then I called something and said, should I wear like a suit or something? What type of outfit and all that? Nothing. It's just be you. That's what it is. It's a practice of being you. I mean, I never heard of that before. Practice of being you, your real authentic self. And it's a vacation from the fake you. I mean, that's how I look at it. It's really dialing into your true self as a child, like what you're born with. Every person is given gifts, given some kind of dreams that they really want to live on a day-to-day basis. It's not a dream that's out there. What's your dream on a day-to-day basis? You get to experience that in that retreat, along with people that you can communicate and resonate with at a deep level.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing your insights and your takeaways and your feedback about the power of the circle and the retreats. And Satyan, why do we have these retreats on the big island of Hawaii? What's the intention behind all of that?
Well, in the Chinese philosophy, they have this, term called yin and yang. Yang is the external driving energy, the male force of moving forward in the world, the action oriented. And many of us entrepreneurs are in that mode and in that gear, hours a day, months, years on end, on end. And I have found this very powerful principle, which I call extreme laziness. It's one of the spiritual principles of transcendent leadership. And that is extreme laziness. And if you think about that, the guilt that can be associated with that, the impressions in our mind, what will dad or mom think if I'm lazy and I'm making money just laying on a beach somewhere? Because that's what happens. Every time any of the CEOs we gather for our retreats, what happens is there tends to be for some of them this trepidation. Can I take time away? Especially if you're new, you don't know what's going to happen there. There's all the concerns about all the work that needs to be done, all the agendas that need to move forward, all the tasks that need to be forward, all the responsibility, all people, they're not going to be able to speak to you, talk to you. But taking those few days off, we kick this extreme laziness, if you will, energetic into space. And what happens is miracles happen in the business world. We've had exits happen while my CEOs, like the final paperwork happened with $40 million sales. We've had just one after another miracle happen, or what we would call aligned synchronicities, conscious, awakened, crafted synchronicities. But it happens when you dedicate yourself to yourself, when you say, you know what, I'm going to go yin now. I'm going to go into the receptive. Hawaii is one of the most feminine, energetic, lush places on the planet. And the big island is very raw. It's very close to us, very close to my heart. And so we go there to move away from the world, to retreat, and then to even deepen and strengthen our warrior spirit through rejuvenation, healing, health, body work, trips into nature, experiencing excursions in magical ways. But more importantly, there's a vibration that's there, that's infusing us CEOs to recognize the value, the beauty of Mother Nature. And when we can tap into this eternal, profound energy of Mother Nature and relish in it, rejuvenate in it, become stronger in it, and then share from the heart with each other and go and experience magical adventures, then we're refreshed, invigorated, dialed in, our minds are relaxed, our burrows and our frows are opened up, and then our inner higher levels of intuition awaken. Our internal navigation awareness becomes more dialed in and nuanced. And so our practices, our decisions, our business clarities, our personal lives, all goes into a whole other level of gear. Higher impact, greater reach, more things happen with way less effort and ultimately zero struggle. So that's the path that we're on. And we like to take those retreats to remember that loving life and that we are part of life is the center of life. And to make joy and freedom and expansion the center of our life, that's why we do it. And that's why we not just discipline ourselves, I call it we blissipline ourselves into greater freedom.
Oh, what a wonderful word. And that's the perfect description of it. And, I know for myself, I would never take vacations. And even if I did, it was like I would get bored. There was no one to talk to. I missed that stimulating conversation and aliveness. And so these retreats are like the best of all worlds because you get this amazing vacation experience, but you're also surrounded by fascinating, beautiful, incredible people who are up to incredible things in life. So you don't ever have that like vacation boredom that would come in. Well, it has been such an incredible honor to have you, Vijay, on the show today, but also to have you as part of the Equilibrium Circle. just to conclude our interview, what would you say to the person who's watching, who is considering joining the Transcendent CEO Circle? What would you say about someone who's maybe on the fence or unsure? Is this right for me? What would you say to them?
Great question. But first of all, thank you. I'll start with a story actually. So what I want to say was there was this gentleman who was going towards a temple. It's an old Indian story. He keeps on walking. Then he asks the little boy who comes across, how do I get to the temple? How do I go to the temple? The little boy says, if you continue on your path, it is 12,000 kilometers by the time you reach your temple. But if you go the other direction, it's just 5 feet away. So in essence, going in just the warrior route is that 12,000 miles you have to go. But if you choose this, a combination of being a sage and a warrior, it's just a few feet away. That's what I tell a person who's thinking about considering it. Just get it.
I love that story. How come Indians always have the best stories? Have you noticed that? The wisdom that's passed down is amazing. Well, of course, Satyan, let's give you the final closing statement. What would you like to say about this amazing interview and this amazing human being, Vijay?
Well, Vijay, it is such an honor, a joy, a pleasure to serve you, to see you grow rapidly, deeply, becoming, you're a warrior in spades. We all know this, your physical acumen, your strength feats, your incredible, fearless lead of your company, that you have the warrior in spades. It really touched my heart when you shared this story that the sage brings you only 5 feet away. And so I believe you nailed the essence of our transcendent leadership, transcendent CEO way of life. And that is, life is not meant to be a struggle. Life is not meant to be a struggle. Struggle is effort that is laced with negative emotion and negative imprints within our consciousness. And so I'm so grateful for your dedication, your heart, Andrea, your dedication, your heart to this path. You're both such luminary examples of living this path of the warrior sage, cultivating the clarity, the heart warrior, opening and expanding into the enlightened sage that you are, and being a transmission that evokes this depth in all those around you. I'm very grateful for your participation, and I'm excited for your teams and the world, for not only what you're sharing now, but the greater waves of impact you're making in the world. It's an honor to support this beautiful dream and intentions that you have. Very honored.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you again, Vijay, for being here.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Satya.
Thank you for watching. Of course, Satyan, thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for making business so fun and meaningful, where we can serve our highest sense of self while we are creating the greatest impact on the planet, not from self-sacrifice or struggle, but from true abundance. And we hope that we have inspired you. And more importantly, we hope that something in this has gotten you to take action, to think differently, to feel something different, so that you can be the best version of yourself. Because when you align with your truth, with your power, you will only make a greater impact and serve humanity on a bigger level. Thank you for watching. My name is Andrea Albright. This has been another episode of Transcendent CEO. Please reach out if you feel like this would be a good fit for you. If you're interested in learning more, we're just getting started. We're going on retreats to Hawaii. We've got amazing circles, and we are all about collaborating to raise the vibration of the planet and to serve the greatest good. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Here's to your transcendence.